The new directions for the Judgment Day story has been made, so we'll see what's new there. We'll also check out what's new with Bayley and more. Starting things off with Bayley, her story, and an actual big reveal that was made on the June 23rd edition of Raw. This edition of Raw featured the women's intercontinental match between Bayley and Becky Lynch. It was a high-stakes match because not only was the title on the line, but you had all the added extra drama about Becky attacking Bayley before WrestleMania 41 and costing Bayley to miss WrestleMania. And as everyone knows, nothing hurts more as a WWE superstar than missing WrestleMania, especially when you were originally intended to have a match on the show, but someone attacks you and that same person ends up taking your spot. That is pretty rough. So Bayley was looking to get revenge on Becky for the attack and take Becky's Intercontinental title in the process. The big interesting note about Bayley's appearance is that commentary confirmed that the gear Bayley wore for this match against Becky Lynch was the gear that Bayley intended to use at WrestleMania 41, had she never been attacked by Becky. Bayley's gear was white and gold, obviously meant to match with Lyra, who was also wearing white and gold for WrestleMania 41. And this entire thing right here really stunned the fans, because when Bayley was pulled from WrestleMania 41's card, literally the night before her match, a lot of fans felt bad for Bayley and wondered if she knew the entire time that she was going to be pulled out of WrestleMania at the last second, or if it was something that was dropped on her head literally the night before the event. There were rumors circulating that Bayley knew well in advance that she would not actually compete at WrestleMania 41. But this gear that Bayley wore on Raw makes that claim that Bayley knew in advance seem like a lie. If Bayley knew she was not competing at WrestleMania 41, why would she collaborate with Lyra on matching WrestleMania gear and have it made? The fact that Bayley collaborated on matching gear with Lyra makes it seem like Bayley was actually expecting to compete at WrestleMania 41. Bayley had the gear ready, made sure it was matching with Lyra. It just seems like Bayley had every intention of walking down the ramp at WrestleMania 41. So the fact that the gear was already done in advance like that leads us to believe that the rumors that Bayley knew she was being pulled well in advance from WrestleMania seems like a lie. It seems like the entire swap of Becky Lynch for Bayley was truly more of a last-second change. Fans already felt gutted when Bayley was pulled from WrestleMania. But now that she had the ring gear ready for WrestleMania 41, really proves that she was not expecting to be pulled out of WrestleMania. So that was a subtle reveal there with Bayley wearing the WrestleMania 41 gear on Raw to face Becky Lynch. But let's get back to the match. Bayley looks like she's getting Becky Lynch right where she wants to close out the match and win the title. But out comes Lyra, who runs into the ring and just starts beating down Becky Lynch, which obviously calls for a disqualification and screws Bayley out of winning the title from Becky Lynch. This led to a mini confrontation between Bayley and Lyra, while Becky gets to sneak away and retain the title. And mind you, this all happened on the same night that Lyra apologized to Bayley for her weird behavior as of late. The weird behavior surely continued as Lyra screwed Bayley out of the title. And this all goes back to what we were talking about when Bayley first returned. Lyra did not seem pleased to see Bayley, but seemed rather more annoyed to see her than anything else. Lyra was battling the situation out with Becky Lynch one-on-one, and Bayley came to get in the way and mess it up. So it looks like Lyra interrupting this match was her subtle way of getting back at Bayley for cutting the line for the Intercontinental Championship. Not really the most babyface thing to do, especially to your former tag team partner, but at least for the moment, we cannot look at it as a heel turn for Lyra. We gotta chuck it up as Lyra just being blinded by rage with the whole situation, that she just couldn't keep her emotions in check. However, it does look like this entire program is teetering on becoming a triple threat feud, so it'll be interesting to see what happens if that does happen. Does Lyra sort of enter that tweener area? Does she get more edge to her character there? It certainly looks like that's the direction they're leaning in for Lyra. The Women's World title had a massive triple threat program during WrestleMania season, and it seems like this will be the direction of that Women's Intercontinental title. Looks like the title will be revolving around Bayley, Lyra, and Becky for the summer months. So that'll be incredible to watch unfold. Now let's get into the Judgment Day story, because they did not waste any time in teasing the new story direction for the group. The Judgment Day is seen backstage, and the whole group mentions how they miss Liv Morgan. Finn Balor tries lifting up their spirits, telling Dominic that he's still the Intercontinental Champion and how he'll defeat AJ Styles once he's cleared. Finn also said that JD himself will win the tag team titles off the New Day. Raquel mentions how Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis still haven't made a decision regarding the women's tag team titles, but Finn gets Raquel fired up to stop complaining and go after Rhea Ripley to make her pay for what she did the week prior. Dominic mentions again how he misses Liv, and Roxanne tells him that everything's gonna be okay. Finn tells Dominic that Roxanne has a match tonight and pushes him to wish her good luck, which Dominic does do. And the even larger segment for the Judgment Day came later in the night when Raquel called out Rhea Ripley. Raquel and Rhea got into a scuffle that looked like it was going to end with Raquel being thrown through a table, but out came Roxanne Perez to save Raquel Rodriguez from Rhea Ripley. Roxanne's distraction opened up the door for Raquel to get the upper hand and throw Rhea Ripley through the table. And after taking care of Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez walked over to Roxanne, offered her a hand to pick her up off the ground, and then hugged Roxanne Perez. And that subtle little hug there is the massive new direction for the Judgment Day. Roxanne and Raquel have been at an absolute battle with each other in recent weeks. They're always arguing. Raquel was always calling Liv and snitching on everything Roxanne was doing. But this one moment here proves the days of Raquel and Roxanne being at each other's necks are over. With Liv Morgan gone for the foreseeable future, Raquel and Roxanne are about to grow closer than ever before, with WWE showcasing this new bond between Raquel and Roxanne that also appears to fully explain the decision not to strip Raquel and Liv off the tag team titles. Judging off the context clues that were given on the June 23rd edition of Raw, it looks like this decision that Adam and Nick will eventually reach is that Raquel either gives up the titles or finds someone else to defend them with and hand the second title to. And obviously, that's a no-brainer. The second title is going to Roxanne, especially after they had that moment of bonding when they took out Rhea Ripley. So although it's not official quite yet, it's safe to assume that the women's tag team titles will not be leaving the Judgment Day in the immediate future. Liv's title will instead be passed over to Roxanne Perez. It's the obvious choice and the story that writes itself. If WWE's main story intention with Roxanne was for her to fill in certain spots and make Liv Morgan jealous, well, this new tag team direction with Raquel accomplishes exactly that, even with Liv not being around. So it was a clear direction to go in, and that appears to be what they'll be doing. Raquel and Roxanne as your tag team champions, and we'll have to see if they become an even bigger and better unit than Raquel and Liv. Fans are also wondering if it could be possible for Liv Morgan to make a super early return to WWE television this summer. Obviously not in a physical role, but in a non-physical and manager type of role. The great thing about Liv's character and story right now is that she could still contribute so much to the program and storylines without even stepping foot in the ring. She'll be there to manage Raquel and Roxanne as tag team champions. She can still be with Dominic and still continue her confrontations with Finn Balor, all while she still recovers. So even though she cannot compete until early next year, there's still so many things she can do in a non-physical role. So fans are hoping that WWE could eventually bring Liv Morgan back early for that type of return, but only time will tell. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.